All right, we are back with another live stream this week, and we are going to be talking about loops in Java. So let's just jump right into it. So there are three, well, there's actually four, but for the video today, we are going to be talking about three of them. We have our for loop, we have the while loop, and then we have what is called the do while loop. So let's go ahead and comment out these other two right here, and we are going to start with the for loop. Now the for loop here, you just simply type the word for, F-O-R, and then inside the brackets you are going to have three condition statements. Usually your first condition statement is to initialize your variable. In this case, I am initializing an integer variable called I. And then the second one, you're going to have your condition here. So we are going to put I less than 10 for this example. And then the third one, we are going to go ahead and put I++. I++ just means that we are going to be incrementing the value of I here by 1. So that's similar to typing this right here as I plus 1. That's like the shorter hand version of what that is. And then obviously inside the body of your for loop, you're going to have a statement here. We're just going to put system.out.println, and then we are going to display the value of I. So that is all set up. That is all good. So let's go ahead and run this, and then let us see what the result is. So let's go ahead, run my Java application, and then we have displayed the value 0 all the way down to 9. Now we can go ahead and follow the logic for that. And simply we come here, we initialize I. I is going to be 0, and then we're going to say, hey, is 0 less than 10? Yes, 0 is less than 10. Go ahead and increment I to by 1, which is going to be 1, and then we're going to output that value. So that is like the logic that it's following there. So that is going to go all the way down from 0 down to 10. I mean from 0 down to 9. If you wanted to include 10 as well, you can go ahead and get the equal sign, and if you wanted to go ahead and start at 1, you could change your initialized variable of I straight to 1. And now when we go ahead and run this, that, we have from 1 right down to 10. So that is your for loop here in a nutshell. Hopefully that was pretty simple, and now we can move on to the next one. And this is going to be your while loop. So your while loop, you just put the word while, and then you're just going to have a single condition in here. We're just going to keep them all the same just for consistency purposes. So we have I going to be less than 10. This is complaining about I. That's right, because we have not initialized it. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we go int I is assigned 0. So that should solve that problem. And then we are going to put system.out.println, and we are going to display the value of I. So similar to the for loop, we have initialized the value of I, and then we have that condition statement, which is going to be the primary driver for this while loop, and then it is going to display the value of I each time. So now if I go ahead and run that, let's go ahead and run that now. Let me go ahead and save it. And now let's go ahead and run it. Oh, we see here that this thing is just constantly running here. As you can see where my mouse is, and then you can see my scroll bar going here absolutely crazy and just constantly outputting the value of 0. So let's go ahead and terminate that, and then let's try to figure out why that's the case. So we went ahead and, oh yes, that's right. So we went ahead here and put I, we did the condition statement, but we did not increment the value of I, which is very important. So remember I said that this condition statement in here, I less than 10, is going to be the primary driver of your while loop. What you will want to do is put something in the body of your while loop that will get you to a condition that's going to break outside of the while loop. So in our other example here, the one that we previously ran, we did not increment the value of I at all. So what happens is it follows the logic and says, okay, I is 0. Hey, okay, let me go down to the while loop. This is a while loop. Is I less than 0? Yes, that condition is true. So I'm going to go ahead and output the value of I to the console. All right, let's go ahead and come back to the while loop. We didn't increment I. So what's going to happen is it's going to say, hey, is 0 less than 10? Oh yeah, go ahead and output that value. And it's going to do it again and again and again and again until you get stuff like this. So in order to fix that problem, you can easily go ahead and say I++, which will increment the value of I, and similar to the output that we had for the for loop, it will now go from 0 right down to 9, which is what we have here. All right, so it's been about 6 minutes and we just ran through those 2 loops, and let's go ahead and do the last one. Might be a short stream today, so we'll see. All right, so we have what is called a do while loop. Let me go ahead and uncomment this. So you have a couple parts to it, which is going to be the do portion, and then you're going to have the while portion. So let me go ahead and get this all set up. Again, we're using the similar example here. This is going to be I less than 10. We are going to open up the bracket here. Make sure we got closing brackets everywhere. That looks fine. Okay. What is this complaining about? While expression. Oh, okay. Maybe I don't need that one. No, that's interesting. Why did it not? I cannot be resolved to a variable. Okay, so we can solve that now. So you can say int I is assigned 0, put the semicolon there. Now let us see why. Oh, okay, so I think this needs to be outside the brackets, so let's bring this down here. Still complaining. Okay, and then this is where we need the semicolon. Okay, all right, so syntax looks fine, and then again we are going to go ahead and inside the body of the the do portion of the loop, we are going to put system.out.println I, and then remember from the previous example, you will have to increment your I counter. So again, let's go ahead and follow this logic here. So we now have I is going to be 0. It's going to output that value of 0. It's going to increment it at 1, and then it's going to come down here to the while portion of the loop and then say, hey, is I less than 10? Yes. And then we're going to go ahead and continue looping through the structure again. Now, why would you use a do while loop instead of a while loop, you might be asking. If you can tell from my voice, I'm a little sick, but I'm not too bad. Now, a do while loop is perfect for a body of code that you want to execute at least once. So maybe, I guess you can use like maybe a video game as an example. When you have a user playing a video game, like you just want them to go through, like maybe a card game would be a better example, like maybe a Java application of a card game where you want the user to just play one hand, whatever card game it is, at least once before, you know, it ends, or they terminate, or they quit, or whatnot. So that's what the do while loop is perfect for. So now let's go ahead and run this. And boom, just like the previous output, we get 0 straight down to 9. So those are the 3 primary Loops, there is another one. It is called the for each loop, but I'll be doing that much later in the series. That's after it's good for objects when you're dealing with object-oriented programming. So that'll come much later in the Java or the Learning Java series that I have running here. So hope everyone found this video entirely helpful. You know the usual. Any comments you want to put, any questions. If there's any sort of improvements to this live stream that you guys want, maybe me getting better so I can sound just a little bit better for you guys, it would be much appreciated. Again, feel free to dislike, offer any sort of feedback you want. It's all constructive criticism. I can take it. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings. I'll be good. Hopefully, you all learned something. And you know what? Like for next week, I'm thinking that we could take the knowledge of the loops from this week, the knowledge of the if-else statements from last week, and some integer variables, and all tie it into a nice little package in our first application. So that would be pretty interesting to see. This is a pretty short live stream. I checked my OBS studio. It is at 11 minutes, so I am going to end it there. Hope you all found this video very helpful, very informative, and I will see you hopefully next week. Stay tuned. Bye.